Hello and welcome back to my programs dev stream of RP-1 for a fairly short stream where, what was I doing? Well, that's almost done. I think I have enough cash to build my testing Thor.
Hey there.
Hello.
Streaming yet?
I should be going. Yeah, I think it's good. OBS thinks I'm streaming. Hopefully Twitch does too. Okay. Sorry?
I said you are. It was just a refresh issue.
Oh, okay. All right, so bought that. Buy that. Now I need isogrid tanks. Can't quite afford it. Gotta wait a little longer. Okay. Let's warp till we have some cash. I really do need to implement the warp to cache. Wait, why is that ticking down? That's... I fixed that bug. Why is that bug back? It must still be a precision issue. Yeah, it's because of the... Yeah. Okay. It is a precision issue. Shoot. Alright, there's no easy fix for that, I don't think.
What's happening?
So, my cache ticks down as... basically... Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm totally wrong. This is not a precision issue. This is a... This is an interaction between KCT and RP-1.
I thought all the updates were synced.
So all the RP-1 stuff is synced, but KCT operates every frame. The construction cost thing.
Right. Okay.
And I'm seriously tempted to just make RP-1 go every frame as well. It's not really that expensive because everything's event driven now.
Doesn't sound unreasonable.
Yeah, we'll see about the perf. So what's... Okay, so we are positive per day. Yep, gradually ticking up.
Are you positive per day at the rate that's predicted by that?
Yes.
Okay, then you're good.
Yeah, it's just it looks weird, but I'll. Um, the downside of upkeep every tick is, well, they're doubles, so I must have enough precision now. Well, we'll see how this works. And Squirrel, yes, I'm also very glad you brought it up because, yeah, since I'd passed that point in career, I wouldn't have noticed. Um, so yeah. What was the other thing? Warp to cache.
Yeah, there's a bunch of early reshuffling. I guess we'll need to.
Yeah.
I thought that would fix.
Yeah.
But
You need to get a computer so you can play it too. Just saying.
Well, I'm gonna have to get one shortly anyway.
Yes.
Or get one updated.
Okay.
But I'll be honest, I have kind of enjoyed this hiatus away from the screen.
Yeah.
That kind of screen.
Yes.
I've been on my Kindle a whole bunch.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I guess I need to hire more engineers. Although I'd really like to stick it out until this finishes, but it's just not going to happen. 36 days. Oh, that actually is finishing pretty soon. But I'm also going to have another pad online, so I'm going to need the engineers anyway.
By the way, I did think of a weird edge case. I don't know if you probably accounted for it already, but there's cases where you can have more engineers than can work on a rocket, right? Or a plane.
Yes, you can have more engineers assigned than can work on a plane, and if a launch complex is human rated and the launch vehicle you're building is not, you can have more engineers assigned than can work on it.
Are the non-working engineers counted at the idle rate or the full up rate?
They're counted at the full rate. They need to be counted at the idle rate.
Okay, that was the edge case that I
Yep.
thought of. Is the efficiency gained based off of the full total or the partial total?
That's also a good question. Right now, because it's LC wide, either the LC is active, in which case they all count, or it's not, in which case they don't. Okay, so I'll deal with that. And so Lunar Range Comms is unlocking way earlier than I thought it was going to. Guess we're actually doing pretty well on research. So I think I actually want 58 orbital rocketry first, because we're in no shape to do a lunar launch yet. Also not in shape to buy the new tracking station. When is that going to finish? That's still in 167 days. Does this? Cool. Yeah, it's not built yet, so it's not charging me maintenance. All right. Actually, yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'll get this early, and then 151 days. Ouch. Okay. Okay, so now unlock lunar comms, cost 10K. And this is the reason I'm starting the stream late, is check this out. Finally, these numbers are auto-generated based on the actual settings. So if we change the settings, we don't have to remember to go in and update all these tooltips.
Oh, very nice.
So that I'm happy about. Part of my, and also it's localizable. Part of my continuing mission to gradually get our strings into better working order.
You are a pro about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, having having done a bunch of shipping for a game that is majority player base are not English as a first language, I think more about loc. Not as much as Egg does, but more.
Well, that's why I said you were a pro about it, not in the colloquial sense, but the literal sense. Something that non-professional developers don't think of automatically.
Yeah, that is definitely true. All right, so that's going to complete in 14 days. Let's finally start some training. So we'll do a prime and a backup. Oh, it only takes 7 days. Now the nice thing is, oh, I should say what it'll do. Okay. Basically, they now, and Scroll, you'll be happy to hear this as well since you were asking me about it a long, long time ago. When you start training them, their retirement is put on hold, basically, and you get back the time you spent training. And also you get a little bonus because they enjoy the fact that they anticipate being flown. All right, so 14 days until that's ready. That's an expensive air launch. That's fine. So now we need to gradually start pulling engineers out. Okay, 6 days for that. And we get to shove all of you. Oh, I didn't. Mission training completed. Oh, I didn't even notice this popped up. Following retirement changes have occurred. So she gets plus 9 days, and he gets plus 9 days. 7 days for the time they were in training, and then an additional 2 days for the fact that they had training at all. What else was I gonna? Yes, need to start this upgrading. $291 days. Yeah, it's probably going to be a year before we can do something reasonably. So I'll let it extend outwards. Oh, we also have 45K, so we can just hire a bunch of folks. Okay. That's reasonably fast. And researchers, you can get some more researchers as well. Okay, what did that do to our budget? The other change is that this is finally fixed. They are trained for suborbital flight, and that costs more. All right, so we're still getting 1.3 million a day because the tracking station is cheaper building. Okay, cool. Let's explain suborbital. We need to. Oh, and we can't do lunar anyway because I don't have the program yet. But we'll do. It will not take many of these flights. 80 kilometers.
Hey Nathan, I was thinking again just now that Blue Diamond or Squirrel mentioned it, that about that thing of starting out with no LC at all. And yeah, I remember you said there's a code reason you can't have no LC. But what if we started you out with a 0-ton LC, but by predefined reasons or whatever, it can be upgraded to
I
whatever.
mean, there's no particular reason that you can't start without an LC.
You told me that there was that the game, the game expects an LC to exist. So
I think so that has to be true of the hangar. That's not true of a rocket LC.
oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. I don't immediately think of any reason why that wouldn't work for starting with no LC for the hangar. More what I'm concerned about is trying to procedurally balance how much money we give you versus the starting LC.
Well, that's why I was suggesting you start with no LC at all. Just get money. It's always the same money.
Oh, I
So
see. Yes.
essentially, you just decide what you want to build at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wait for that thing to be built.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so I don't really remember what kind of downrange we'll need, so let's try that. We can always go around. What do you mean no trained? Did I train them for the X1 instead of the X15?
Uh-oh.
Son of a gun. I did.
Oh, why they were cheaper before too?
No. No, this is fine. So we'll have to wait 11 days, which sucks. But it's only 11 days, it's fine. I'll add an alarm for it. Really should add stock integration for this stuff, because that has a nice warp to feature. This, I don't see any way to warp to alarm.
Yeah, that's why I had Trigger add that to the stock alarm system that we added.
Yeah.
But I guess RP-1 is disabling it.
It doesn't disable it. It's just we've never added bindings to creating the crew training alarms to go to the stock alarm system.
Okay, no worries. I mean, I did ask that all of that stuff be extensible, and
Yeah,
Dave's really good about
yeah,
doing
I'm
that.
sure.
I mean,
I'm sure
he's
it
just
is.
extending his own code, really. Like, I don't think he rewrote the alarm system from scratch.
Yes. Hey, Alex. Yeah, no, I'm sure that was well reused.
I remember the forums, some people asking, "Why did you steal Trigger's alarm clock?"
Oh God.
It's like, because it works real well, and he works for us.
Yes. Okay. Now the training completed. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, that's probably about as much of a climb rate as I want in this thing. Okay, I guess that was a little much. Oh yeah, and we're already at 20 kilometers. Okay, now we can go back to climbing. Okay, leveling out at just shy of 25 kilometers. Guess I'll get a little more altitude first. Okay, let's start our dive.
Hey, back had to mute for a bit.
Welcome back.
Looks like a more reasonable amount of wing, although I would have still put on more.
Yes. Yes, you would. Alright, let's see what we get out of this.
Someday FAR will need to be adjusted so that more wing is not basically free.
Yep.
Looks like you did a very ideal trajectory. I think you're going to go very high this time.
Hopefully. Not super high, but high enough. The problem is that I'm really lacking in thrust.
Oh, fair. What do you power with the XR? Still XR11s?
The XLR11s, but the only the first pump fed model, not the second pump fed model.
Gotcha.
Man, yeah, we're not even going to make it to space. I mean, we're going to get above the Kármán line, but
Yeah, gravity and drag losses are really bad when your thrust is that poor.
yep. Also, it looks like I should have done the full 1,000 kilometers. Because we're definitely going to overshoot. Trajectory looks nice.
Yep. Which experiment are you doing?
High altitude.
Okay.
Okay, that's confusing. Oh, no, I know why. Yes, that's why. Because I still had this enabled. I still had the atmospheric autopilot enabled. All right, we hit apogee.
Yeah, you would have needed 3 of them to go get to space.
Mm-hmm. Or the upgrade, which I think I either have or I'm about to have the node it's in. Yeah, we should have done 1,000 kilometers, because, hi Cape, we're going to be over you shortly.
Well, then it's closer to the real X-15 trajectory where, they went out, over, around, over and back, down.
Yeah. Yeah, but even on the altitude flights, that basically this thing performs better than even the real X-15, even with these crummy engines, because our airplane dry masses are still too low.
Yep.
Here we come. Let's hope nobody blacks out. Why are we not pitching more? Oh God. What is going? That was super weird. Oh, I guess it was feathering because we were G limited.
G's were really low, though. I mean, you're under 1G. Why would it?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. That was very weird. But it definitely teaches me to stay on the zoom mode instead of default. Moderate G on 8 was just failing somehow.
Do we talk to the guy who does AA at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Alex, the dry mass is too low because our tanks have too high temperatures, basically. If our tanks had appropriate melting points, then you'd have to have a lot more thermal mass and stronger structural materials.
It's not just that. It's that our tanks are rocket tanks, which are designed to
Yes.
take loads in only one direction and
Also that.
plain fuselage. Yeah.
Yep.
for the rest of the chat, plane fuselages need to take loads in a lot of different directions, so they have to be built much heavier. But I do always appreciate how Nathan can shortcut my thinking without me finishing a sentence. Funny, but not sarcastic. I do
Yes.
like it.
Yeah. Turns out being a nerd is a useful life skill. Alright. I'm going to accept the higher drag losses just to not dive so much. Okay. So yeah, given that horrific re-entry, we're not actually coming in with as much energy as I feared. So this is going to be fine.
I don't think I've ever actually watched somebody on a stream or you cross up a KSP plane. Literally ever. I think we're all taught never to touch the rudder.
I've done it basically back when I had my HOTUS plugged in. I did it all the time. But
Fair.
without a HOTUS plugged in, it's much harder to do.
Yeah, it is a bit of a balancing act. By definition.
In particular, because like you can't get the smooth control you need, because mouse aim flight will take everything over.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't do it with mouse aim flight. You can do it with keyboard, but
Yes.
you have to find the exact right set point.
Yeah. Yeah, like I could do this.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
But yeah, it is pretty tough with just keyboard.
There's a better way to get a lot of aerodynamic drag than doing dolphining, though, because it's more controlled.
Yes. Okay, clouds. Okay, we're almost lined up with the runway. Okay. Don't think I want to bleed that much more energy. A little bit, but not too much. Man, this really does look kind of like a voodoo from the tail. Or an F3H, actually. Looks a lot like an F3H. Okay, and I think somewhere around 70 meters per second is where I want to be, because this thing has way more wing.
how did you end up developing so much historical knowledge of like 50s aircraft?
Uh, 'Cause planes are cool.
Okay.
I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. So,
I don't know. I thought maybe you played a simulator that I didn't play because I don't remember one that was like for that period.
uh, so yes, there certainly was one for that period. Strike Fighters Project 1, and then Wings Over Vietnam, Wings Over Europe, and whatever it is, North Atlantic. So TK, the guy who made Pacific Air War and European Air War, if you remember those,
Vaguely.
Micropro Sims, he and some folks started a company called Third Wire, and they made Sims. And so they made that, which was basically the campaign was from like 1956 or so up until 1969 or so. So you start out in Super Sabres, and it's got zippers and F4s and other fun stuff, and also has a huge modding community because it's a very open game.
Mhm.
To the point where people modded it back into a World War II sim.
I think I might have quit playing flight simulators by that point. The last one I remember, like this was, I mean, I quit them kind of early, like Falcon 3.0 maybe, Gunship
Oh,
2000.
that's super early. This was probably 2003, 4, something like that. But between that and the fascination, particularly with like Navy carrier aircraft, that I'm gonna know basically everyone in service from 1938 through basically now. I don't know much about interwar stuff. Um,
Yeah, I was
but
more into online games at that point,
yeah,
like early 2000s, late 90s.
yeah.
And that's when I was playing that BattleTech mud also.
Yep. Yeah, the only MMO that I got into briefly was MPBT 3025, but it was the open beta was shut down, and they didn't actually ever release it, which was real sad because that was a lot of fun.
What was the acronym?
Multiplayer BattleTech 3025, and that was
Was
like
that a mod?
2001 or two.
Or was that?
No, that was 3D. That
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah. I remember it.
yeah, yeah, sequel to MPBT, like the Solaris thing that was made by the same company that did like the first massively multiplayer World War II sim, which I can't remember what it was called.
I don't remember.
Yeah. School, yeah. McDonnell had some really cool aircraft. Um, yeah, and you can really see how they got to the Phantom from the Demon. It looks very much like a shrunken single seat Phantom. All right, so do I have, when am I going to get the better XLR11? Let's see. '59. Oh, they're not sorted in alpha. Where the heck is it? Did it randomly get stuck in some other branch? I'm just going to check config cache. Let's see. $13.8K. Yeah, it's supposed to be in... We're supposed to already have access to it. It should be in here. There it is. I missed it. So, turned out I should have had that engine in the plane before it finished because I'd already unlocked that node. That sucks.
Yeah, especially since refitting is going to be expensive.
Yep.
After flying it.
Oh well. Okay, I'm going to launch this and then be done with it. All right, we got more staff. Let's make them engineers. Okay. Yeah, that's annoying. No two ways about it. Let's see how this flies. Oh, I forgot to fix the launch umbilical tower. Okay.
I probably agree with you. I kind of wish we had more intake shapes too.
Yep. Yeah, we can just about get by on rockets, but planes, we really need more parts.
That is kind of a derpy looking rocket.
I mean, it actually looks pretty close to what the historic Thor looked like, although that had little tiny fins down here and a much flatter nose cone. Also wider. This comes to a much narrower point. But yeah, that basically is what the Thor missile looked like.
Yeah, I'm not denigrating your design skills. Just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to these days rockets basically just being cylinders rather than having curves.
I don't mind the lack of it not being a cylinder.
Oh god, 21G burnout.
Between the nose cone looking kind of like a ballpoint pen to me, though, and the aft skirt just looking off. I think that's the bit that is getting me.
Yeah.
Like, I know the skirt has to be belled out like that because you have the vernier on it, but that was a lot of down pitch and burnout too.
Yes. Well, it's trying to circularize at 185 kilometers in 2.5 minutes. So, yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, that was a great success. I'm shocked that the engine worked. That engine is not the most reliable. Wait, can I not turn? Oh, there we are. I can turn them off. And tower height. Okay. Seems fine. What were you saying about the boat tail? That there was something weird about the boat tail?
Just that it visually looked off to me, but that's more of an aesthetic reason rather than.
Yeah, I mean, I could put a holoproc tank in here to make it solid, but yeah, do not understand how that thing didn't fail. Also, we got a lot of data out of it.
I'm the last one who should criticize what a rocket looks like, though. If it works, it works. So that's fine.
Oh, right. No, it's high because of the data transfer. Yes, that's what's going on.
Good.
Which reminds me, I also need to make a fix to this. Let's fix this. Okay, LR91 also gets this change. Wait, the LR91 doesn't... That's weird. I didn't add the... Okay. Gotta add some tech transfer. Okay, cool. That's all sorted out. Check that in. And yes, at least we'll have reasonable data transfer over from the A6 that we were flying. Oh, shoot, I did that wrong. Okay, now that's fixed. Okay. Save this. Save edits. And reconditioning. That recovery is finally going to finish. Now we get to modify it at great cost. Okay, that's not too bad. I think because it didn't actually change the runtime. Why is there not a fill tanks option? That's interesting. Okay, anyway. $7 is not too bad. Not at all. Start the next training. Mission X-15. Load and save the original craft file with the new engines. And for some reason this wasn't started. Fix that. Okay. "90 kilometers, sure." Okay, do this flight and then go to bed. Yeah, we'll do 1,000. That seems fine.
How's your rep doing at this point, by the way?
I'll check. I think I'm still way the heck under. Although I'll be getting a few more crude altitude records, maybe.
Yeah, still seriously thinking that we should go back to zero-based subsidy.
Yeah, I just think that's such a mistake.
Remind me why you think it's a mistake.
Because then you can't really give rewards for flying required contracts.
I mean, sure you can.
They just have to be minuscule.
Yeah, they have to be lower. And but the conversant issue of having to just try and keep up with the bottom of the rep curve by, and having to tune everything so that it kind of keeps you up with the bottom of the rep curve. So you're basically we're giving you awards to keep you up with not stagnating. I don't know. It just feels worse overall.
See, for me that feels fine.
It would feel fine if we were somehow allowing people to go down to zero subsidy, because then you can still always get something for getting rep.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like we're asking people to tread water and trying to tune around them.
Yeah.
Better than treading water, but like the normal stuff causes them to tread water, and then it's just going to be very hard to finally balance the normal stuff precisely causes you to tread water.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be subject to timings. Oh, oops, I didn't notice. I definitely got a bunch of rep. Crude speed record, crude altitude record, altitude record, altitude record. Okay, so it feels like the altitude versus speeds are a little bit off, but not unreasonable.
Okay.
can shift some rep from speed into altitude, I guess. But it's broadly fine. Okay. Start our run. Okay, let's gain some speed and some dynamic pressure. Okay, we're gonna go super high this time.
Nice.
Ah, yes. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Almost 175, but not quite.
Let's hope A doesn't give you problems on the descent. I don't think that
Yep.
would be recoverable this time if you did.
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty hot. Okay, crew report running. Here we go. Really wish we had better blending between scaled space and PQS. Coming in hot. Whoa, what the heck? Yeah, okay. Oh right, I had master switch off. Shoot. All right. Well, guess I'm getting distractible and forgetful enough that I really got to call it quits for the night. I will fly that mission tomorrow instead. Thanks everyone for
Okay.
watching. Maximal, thank you for joining, and I'll catch you all next time. Night.
Good night.